Welcome, world, to the first ever Impact Summit. Together, we are gathered with a bunch of disruptors. Wave your hands, say hi, everybody. If you are committed to helping humanity change energy, food, healthcare, banking, mining, communications, charity, and AI, raise your hand and say aye. Aye. All right, we want to welcome every one of you to the world's first summit. Everybody can see everybody here. Let's light up those chats. Tell us where you're checking in. What city and what country are you checking in from? So amazing to see all of you incredible humans here. Winston-Salem, Wilmington, North Carolina. Where else do we have? Georgia, Rome, Italy, Holland, Houston, Texas, Nova Scotia, Las Vegas, Iowa, Netherlands, Houston, Thailand, New Orleans, Jacksonville, Florida, Jamaica, Vegas, Spain, Dacula, Georgia, Brisbane. This is amazing. We are so excited. Today you're going to get to hear from almost every one of these people live. They've got incredible knowledge they're going to drop. So please give them a huge hand. You'll get to see them in just a moment. It's game time. Here we go. Thanks, you guys. I could not be more excited. We want to recognize every one of you. You've already typed in your city and your country. If you're brand new here, this is the first time that you've ever heard about Connect or any of our amazing projects, type in brand new to the chat. And if you are one of our owners, if hashtag we own this, type in owner. That way we can see and celebrate every one of you. If you are a top seller, I want Kurt, Christine, Danny, Lori, all of our top sellers, step forward. You guys earned the right to be here. Congratulations. Yeah. Well done, well done. These are the men and women that have gotten the bug, they've gotten the passion, and they have invited every single one of us to step our game up. So thank you all for being here. Super excited to have them here. I also now want to go to screen and recognize our Gather hosts. If we can pull up our Gather hosts, because guess what? I know some of you are in your home, maybe you're in your office, but we had a group of people that gathered together to bring community, and that's what we're all about. We are literally here to disrupt and decentralize humanity, and we have got some gathers from around the world. So if we can pull up, I know Australia. Where else do we have around the world that's gathering? Do we know? Where? Florida? Canada? All right, so we're going to give the production team a second here to pull up our Gather hosts so we can see oh, here we go. We've got a couple of people gathered. It looks like Melbourne. All right, if we can get those big screen. Wow, we got some huge groups over here. A lot of living rooms. That's cool. Well, if we can mainframe those, that would be awesome, team. And finally here, I want to recognize the support team. Denise, Irene, the team, Allie, everybody who spent hours and hours putting on this event. All right, there we go. We've got some people. All right, if you're in a room with people, wave your hand. We can see you guys. There you go. I like the Christmas outfit. Well done. Well done on the Christmas outfit. I see Australia down here. Hi, Australia. Good to see you guys and gals. Aussies. The Aussies. Woo! All right. All right. Well, cool. So very soon, you're going to get a chance to hear from 8 world leaders, 8 brand presidents. And here's something special. You may or may not have known this, but we believe in recognition. We also believe in rewards. So every single one of the brand presidents' presentations that you join, you're going to, at the end of it, fill out a quick little form, just your first name, last name, email, and cell phone. And that's going to qualify you for token giveaways. Now, if you don't know what tokens or digital rewards are, no worries. We're going to share that with you pretty soon. If you are on the YouTube live stream, you see a little QR code at the bottom. It's not too late to register for VIP. It's $29. We'll bring you up on the live screen. You'll have access to the chat, and you'll earn even more entries into the grand prizes. I calculated it last night. I think we're giving away around $150,000 of value at the end of the 4 hours today. So how many of you would love to win some things today? Say aye. Aye. Awesome. So if you are on part of the free live stream on YouTube or any of the other channels, congratulations, you have a chance to win from each of the 8 brand presidents that are here, and you get 1 point for the raffle for every one of the 8 presentations that you go. Now, each of these brand presidents is going to come up here for 12 minutes and give you their best TED Talk on what are the big problems they're solving in energy, food, healthcare, banking, mining, communications, charity, and AI. And what's going to be awesome is that when you watch that 12 minutes and fill out that form, we're going to enter you into a chance to win some really cool stuff at the end. At the end of today, we're going to do this massive giveaway, this massive raffle. I'll talk about that in just a second. So if you're committed to listening and learning, type yes in the chat, and we'll know that you're ready to rock and roll. And if you upgrade to VIP, you can earn even more chances in the raffle. All right, I see a lot of yeses there, so our tech is working. That is fantastic. So you're also going to see some from VIP experts. I apologize, we did not get the pictures of the other 4 VIPs, but say hi, Tony. Where's Tony? Tony Swantek. Tony has become a dear friend of mine. He's actually the one who invited me into this conversation just about 2 years ago that absolutely transformed my life. So if somebody's invited you to watch this, I can tell you from the bottom of my heart, it's not like I didn't have a lot going on, but as soon as I saw the impact that this community was having, I knew in my soul, in my DNA, that this was part of my life purpose. And so Tony, thank you so much for that. Super excited to be here. Tony's going to nail his presentation later today. It's going to be absolutely incredible. Now, I'm going to give the brand president the rest of their team a farewell here. Thank you, guys and gals. We're going to rock and roll. I'll see you on stage soon. All right, so you're going to hear over the next probably 15 to 20 minutes, but then for the next 3 hours and 45 minutes, you're going to hear some terms that might be new to you. If you're gathered with some other people, they will educate you. If you're brand new to this and you're watching this on live stream, don't worry. We have a whole academy that's built to train and to educate people. So you might hear some things called RWA and RW money. What does that stand for? Well, it stands for real world assets and real world revenue. If you get into the world of blockchain, or if some of you might be somewhat familiar with crypto, and if you are, by the way, if you're familiar with blockchain and crypto, type B and C into the chat. All right? If you're familiar with it. If you don't know anything about it, that's cool. That's why we're here. But oftentimes you'll hear things about meme coins. You'll hear about ICOs or rug pulls. Well, we're going to be talking about the opposite of that. We're going to be talking about real world projects that have real world assets that generate real world revenue. Okay? This is a game changer. And we're not going to talk about it in one vertical. We're going to talk about it today in 8 verticals and eventually in every single vertical in the world. We are truly going to disrupt and decentralize every single industry that is necessary for humanity's operating systems to change. And I say this because I have been, for the last 2 years, diving deep into this world. I knew nothing about this. And now I'm a big believer that we, the people, have the opportunity to take our power back and to shift the way that humanity operates. All those in favor of doing that, say aye. Raise your hand. Let me see you on the chats. Okay, that's why we're here. That's why we've gathered. That's why we kicked off the world's first Impact Summit. So you're going to hear some terms like this. You're also going to hear over and over again about 3 of the most disruptive technologies: AI, blockchain, and crypto. And these 3 technologies, of all the technologies that are out there, are moving faster than any tech I've ever seen. And they're also making the most disruptive thing I've ever seen. So if you're not familiar with technology, and I've been in tech for 30 years, I've built numerous companies. As a matter of fact, we're here broadcasting from one of the clean tech companies we built called Power. Started it 12 years ago, Inc. 5000, fastest growing company 4 years in a row, is now one of the largest US solar companies and put more panels on roofs than a lot of people, a lot of companies. So it was a disruptive technology. But these 3 technologies, AI, blockchain, and crypto, are absolutely transforming the way we do business. If you're using AI, do me a favor and type into the chat, what do you use AI for? Right? Do you use it to help you with your groceries? Or are you using it to help you, build business plans? Or using it to write code or do design or graphics? Go ahead and chat in here. I want to see what some of your level of understanding is with that. But you're going to hear AI, blockchain, and crypto. So I see some B and C's popping up. Johnny says everything. Judy says everything to resolve doubts, right? Interesting. A bunch of things. Research, writing, logos, recipe, marketing, translations. Here's what's crazy. Do you realize that it was just 3 years ago that most of the world found out about AI? Now, machine learning's been around for a long time, but ChatGPT launched November of 2022. Look at the transformation it's made. Now, the next big thing you're going to hear from with each of our brands, and this will become more and more familiar, is you're going to hear the difference between centralized world and decentralized world. We believe that technology is going to create a decentralized future. We believe that centralized is the way that most things start, and it needs to, right? You've got to get a group of people together, maybe form a corporation, maybe develop a business. But as those businesses grow, as they get bigger and bigger and bigger, as we've seen with many of the tech companies, as we've seen with the food industry, we've seen it with energy, as it gets so big that it becomes investor-owned and it becomes controlled, or even at the point where the government's involved, we've seen that centralization can have some negative effects, right? And you're going to hear about that today. Here's the good news. We have solutions. We, the people, have an opportunity to disrupt and to decentralize every single industry and take our power back. Literally get rewarded for building energy, food, healthcare, banking, mining, communications, transportation, and AI. We can own all these industries. Instead of a handful of people controlling those, we the people can. If you are interested in that, if that sounds cool, type in hashtag we own this. Type in hashtag we own this. These are the kind of things that we're going to hear over and over and over. All right? We're going to hear these kind of phrases. You're going to hear it for the next couple of hours. And as I mentioned before, we've got a really fun couple of hours, but we want to do a couple of things. Number one, we are going to ask you to join our movement, and we're going to show you exactly how. When I say a movement, I'm talking about disrupting and decentralizing every single industry out there, right? Even some that we're not going to be talking about today. And I believe, and maybe you do too, that now is the time for the masses, 8.4 billion people on this planet. It's time for all of us to own and operate these industries. It's time for us to be rewarded for that. So I hope that you join us in this movement. And if you don't, that's fine. But there's going to be over 1 billion people, I believe. Right now, we have over 90,000 people in 175 countries. So we've just begun this movement, and we're super excited. Number two, we are going to ask you to connect with our brands after the event. Since they only have 12 minutes, they're really going to talk about the problem, the solution, and then how to connect with them afterwards, right? They're each going to have an opportunity for you to go into a 1-hour deep dive, whether you're passionate about energy, food, healthcare, banking, whatever it is. We're going to ask you on a drag and drop form to say, hey, I want to hear about energy first. I want to hear about food first, or healthcare, or AI, or whatever it is. And then we're going to invite you to register for a 1-hour webinar where they'll take you behind the scenes and show you exactly how we're going to disrupt and decentralize, and more importantly, the massive opportunity that's behind there. All right? So that's step two. Number three, and I'm going to give you right now an ethical bribe to get you to stay to the end, okay? I already mentioned that we're going to do raffles throughout today, and I am so excited. I know that you will be too. So number one, we're going to talk about at the end of the day something called a bundle match NFT. Okay, this bundle match NFT is taking 8 of our top brands, taking the digital rewards, sometimes people call them tokens, and we're going to give you rewards in each of those 8 brands. Which, by the way, they're really hard to get right now. If you go to one of the exchanges, they're difficult to get because nobody's selling these things. They're holding on to them because they're real-world assets producing real-world revenue, and everybody thinks, wow, these rewards might be worth a lot more in the future. They may not, but we believe, and I think many of you, that holding these or hodling them is a smart idea. So we put together an NFT called a bundle match NFT. It's the first time we've ever done this. We're launching it live here today, and you'll have the opportunity to, with one purchase, to actually buy 8 of the different brands. All right, so that's number one. We're going to give one of those away today. It's worth $5,000. Number two, we're going to give away 5 BlockBot Pros. All right, now if you're brand new, you have no idea what a BlockBot Pro is or why you should have one, but it's the world's first AI and blockchain robot that actually mines these digital rewards, and it does all these activities across all of our blockchains, right? So we'll explain more about that later. We're going to give 5 of those away for $2,500 each, so that's $12,500, and we're also going to be rolling out for the first time today in a very alpha environment. We're going to give licenses to 100 digital U's. We're calling them AI twins. And you'll literally have your own digital twin that you own that you feed the data in, and it holds all of your best memories, your best data, and it becomes your executive assistant. So I've been holding this out. I've been working behind the scenes. Nobody in here has even seen this thing. It's very alpha. There's a high likelihood that it'll be a little wonky today, which is okay. If you ever remember when Mark Zuckerberg had the Meta glasses when he first launched them, and they completely failed, he says, "Hey, Meta, do this," and it completely failed. And then he turns it to the guy who's in the kitchen, and that guy says, "Hey, Meta, I've got all this stuff here. Can you help me make a recipe?" And it completely fails. Or how many of you remember when Elon Musk was demoing the Cybertruck, and it's supposed to be bulletproof, and he threw that ball at it, and it cracked the window? How many of you remember that? Okay, so there's a high likelihood that our digital U, which is still in alpha, is going to have some issues. I'm going to try to demo it live today. If it works, fantastic. It's worked for me the last couple of days, but who knows? If it doesn't, that's okay, because we're in alpha, and we're going to give 100 licenses away to those of you who want to be the world's first to claim and test and help us improve your digital U. So if you like the idea of having your own AI that's on the blockchain, that's decentralized, that can help you manage your life, type in digital twin. Type in digital twin to the chat. So how is all this going to happen? Well, at the end of this, we're simply going to do a raffle, all right? And here's the way it works. Because there's 8 brand presidents presenting, you're going to get 1 point or 1 entry per brand. Everybody can, whether you're on the free or the VIP. If you paid the $29 VIP, we're going to automatically give you an additional 2 entries. So the free people have up to 8 entries. The VIPs have up to 10. That QR code, if you want, you can still register for the $29 VIP, and you'll see on there that you get the recordings, you get additional bonuses and prizes. But here's the good news. Every single one of you has an opportunity to own these digital rewards, because we're giving a lot of them away. We're giving every one of you who showed up for this live, we're actually giving you digital tokens. You just need a Connect account and a wallet, and we can help you with that. All right, so that's that. I've got to do our quick disclaimers here before we dive into the AI presentation. Feel free to screenshot this. All right, I'm going to read a shortened version of this, which is our Win Rewards standard disclaimer. Basically, what this says is that Connect does not sell tokens or digital rewards. The Win blockchain, which is governed by Win node owners, is self-governing, and the distribution of Win digital rewards. All right, so screenshot this. We are going to have some forward-looking statements, right? We're going to look into the future. Our goal is to help each and every one of you start to look at where we could take this technology, all right? Everything we're doing here is for your education. When I first learned about this, I invested 6 months flying between Puerto Rico, Hawaii, Utah to meet these brand presidents, to find out what their vision, mission, values were, to look at their products and services, and to see how they were going to go out and disrupt humanity. So that's there. And then the final one is the Connect disclaimer. Our whole blockchain is governed by a decentralized governance framework. You may or may not know what that means, but we are leading the world in our legal approach to the blockchain, all right? So to make sure that everything is clean and ready to go. Okay, so that being said, are you ready to rock and roll? We've set the stage. How many of you have noticed that AI is disrupting humanity? How many of you have started to use AI? You're starting to recognize that it's changing the way that things operate. All right, type into the chat AI if you've already been seeing. I see a couple of hands up. Cool. So technology is disrupting humanity faster than most people even recognize. All right, if you missed out on the iPhone 10 years ago or 20 years ago when Apple launched, I get it. You're probably on the consumer side of technology. But don't miss the biggest shift of all. This is a multi-trillion-dollar shift that we're talking about, and AI is just one segment of that market. Take a look at this. Netflix took 41 months to reach 1 million users. Facebook, 10 months. Instagram, 2.5 months. Ripplen took 79 days. That was an app company that I helped build back in 2014. We reached 1 million users in 79 days. That was us. But ChatGPT took 5 days to reach 1 million users. It is literally the fastest, most pervasive technology that humankind has ever seen. It surrounded the globe faster than the coronavirus, right? And it reached 100 million users in 2 months. In 2 months, 100 million users. It is by far one of the most disruptive things. And we all know why, right? AI is like having a robot friend who can create new things, right? I've used it for artwork, pictures, music, business plans, marketing strategies, landing pages, writing code. Our team is now writing codes. People who've never written code before, they're using things like ChatGPT and Claude to write code, literally do websites. It's being used for drug discovery, writing patents. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. But there are some downsides to this too. There's benefits, but there's also some downsides. So what are some of the benefits? Well, number one, you can get more done. Number two, you can make better decisions. And number three, you can reduce mental overload. All right? I don't know about you, but I've got a busy life. I'm involved in multiple projects. I've been a husband for 23 years. I've got a son who's in college. I've got an incredible network of friends and business owners around us. We have very full lives. We travel the world, inspiring people to step up and play a bigger game. But it's a lot. And so I've personally been using AI to help me manage my life, to help me make better health decisions, to help me make better financial decisions. And if you stick around us for a while, you're going to find that we can teach you how to use AI in a safe way to help you live a better life. All right? That's one of our ultimate goals here. But I will also tell you, there are some challenges. There is a dark side to anything, right? Any technology, and there are some serious problems. If you've heard about deep fakes, right, or if you heard about security issues where AI is breaking and hacking into people's bank accounts, it's hacking into pretty much every major storage database that's been out there, right? And maybe you've heard that 80% of jobs are going to be displaced in the next 3 to 5 years. Now, I didn't create that stat, but this is what's out there. As a matter of fact, it's white-collar jobs that are also being replaced. And so this is having a major income impact on a lot of families. And maybe you've seen recently where the military has been partnering with the US government, that's partnering with the major tech companies, and they're using AI plus robotics plus military to create a new machine. Okay, that's all I can say at this point. But think about this. We've got one of the most powerful technologies that man has ever created. We have no idea what this thing is going to happen. And we've got it in the hands of just a handful of people, right? I was watching that presentation that was done at the White House where you had Donald Trump and Melania and you had the 30 top tech CEOs there. You had Mark Zuckerberg there, you had Tim Cook from Apple, you had the boys from Google, and you went around the table and they made a public commitment to invest trillions of dollars. So Zuckerberg said, I'll put $650 billion into AI data centers, right? And then Tim Cook steps up and the Google guy steps up. Each of these guys committing hundreds of billions of dollars, eventually trillions of dollars to do what? Build these data centers. But guess what that has? It has a downstream impact. It means that you and me, consumers, are no longer first in line for energy. We're not even second in line. First is the data centers, then the corporations, then you as a homeowner. So you're going to start to see exponential financial challenges with a lot of people who can't afford to pay their electric bills. But you're also going to see that AI can destroy trust. There's a great little video, and we can't play it live today because we're live streaming to YouTube. That's against their laws. But we'll give you a link to watch this later. It's about 3 minutes and 36 seconds long, where Gary Vee is saying, hey, we've destroyed trust. There are so many videos of me, Gary Vee, out there saying that things that I never said. Unless it comes, and in this thing, he says, unless it came from my wallet tied to a blockchain where the blockchain can verify that, yes, that's Gary Vee's account, he said everything else can be considered a fake. Now think about that. When AI starts calling the elderly people and the voice cloning technology is so good that it sounds like their son or daughter that's in a desperate situation, send me money. This is already happening. This is not the future. This is happening now. And you're probably seeing around the world where places like Australia, December 10th of 2025, have required that every single person have a digital ID. Think about this. No one over the age of 16 is allowed to be on social media. So it starts off as, hey, it's for your own good, but think about the amount of control. And I know our Australian friends, we've been talking about this a lot, that this is a first step to ultimate control by a centralized one world government. The United Nations is demanding stronger regulations of social media, right? It's our content, it's our platforms, it's our community. Why should they determine versus the parents whether our kids can be on there or not? I get the risk side of it, right? But the reality is this is a massive control. And if you haven't tapped into this, you need to start waking up to it, because they're now going to start requiring in Australia a digital ID for age verification on search engines like Google. Just for you to be able to Google something, they're going to require your digital ID. It's already happening with travel. It's happening in multiple places. But how many of you have seen this? Type this into the chat. I see Aussie Summit down there. How many of you have seen what's happened as of December 10th in Australia? And by the way, it's not just happening in Australia. All right. How many of you saw this happen months ago, where Vietnam citizens had 86 million bank accounts shut down overnight because they would not accept a digital ID? Imagine that. And I, by the way, have been debanked, right? So I actually woke up 11:30 at night. I'm on the phone. I'm next to my wife. And I said, honey, did you shut down our bank accounts? Did you take all of our money out of our business accounts? And she's like, no. And I said, well, guess what? They're at zero. I went into Wells Fargo. They said, oh, we tried to verify your address. I'm like, I've been with you 24 years. I'm a private banking client. You know my address. And like, well, sir, here's a cashier's check. They gave me a cashier's check. They wouldn't even allow me to deposit at their own bank. It was their cashier's check. So the world is getting wonky. Things are changing. And how many of you have heard about this? London requiring a digital ID for you to be able to enter into a grocery store and buy food. Anybody heard about this? Well, here's the good news. This is actually fake news, okay? This is fake news. But I don't think it's long before centralized AI is working with every single government to have all of your data, have all the control, whether it's OpenAI, Grok, Claude, Perplexity, Gemini, you name it. Guess what? We have a solution. And later today, you're going to hear more about this solution called BlockBot AI, the world's first blockchain AI robot that actually works for you, that you own, that gives you digital rewards, can help you manage your life, but your data is secure. So I ask you, why are you really here? This is a question I love to ask, not just here on this live event, but why did you come to this planet? Why did you take physical form at this time, the most transformational time in technology? Well, sometimes it's hard to connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. So you have to trust that these dots will somehow connect in your future. When I look back over my last 30 years of building disruptive technology companies like the world's first virtual tour company we took public back in 1999. If you've seen a home online, that's because of us. We grew that from 6 employees to 1,500 in a year. That one technology changed the way the world viewed real estate. Shortly after that, what happened? Steve Jobs comes out with the iPhone, okay? Pretty incredible piece of technology, but look at this. When was that? It was June 28th of 2007. It was $500 and you could only get it on an AT&T contract. This is a picture of the Vatican shortly after that. Look at the difference between 2005 at the Vatican and 2013. Pervasive technology, another structural shift. When I saw that, I said, let's build an app that connects the world. It was called Rippling, and we grew that app to 1 million people in 79 days. Technology has the ability to change our realities. After that, I built another company that grew to another 55 countries and helped people learn how to become happier, healthier, and wealthier by gamifying life. The last piece here is that I'm actually standing in the studio years ago, my friend and I, Jonathan Budd, went down to the Amazon rainforest, worked with the indigenous tribe to help them protect their rainforest, and formed a company called Power. We're in the Power studio coming to you live today because Power was built to disrupt and decentralize energy, and they were kind enough to let us use this platform to reach back out again to humanity and help humanity shift not only energy, but food, healthcare, banking, mining, transportation, communications, and AI. My friends, this is a disruptive time. Today, you're going to get to hear from some amazing impact CEOs that are ready to go shift the world, but we need support. Everything starts with the power of one person. And as I mentioned earlier today, Tony Swantek, the gentleman you see on the right in the blue shirt, Tony was speaking on stage after me when I was talking about what if we could go change the world? What if we could gather the world's best CEOs and go disrupt them and fund them, capitalize them? He says to me, you need to fly to Puerto Rico to meet the gentleman who is in the plaid shirt. All right, so the gentleman there is Wright Thurston. You're going to hear from Wright later talking about our charity called Give. He is the mastermind behind a lot of this. He's been a champion of these projects from the very origin, and I cannot believe that one day I flew to Puerto Rico. We left the Super Bowl, had a meeting with these gentlemen that you see right here. Dr. Fab is the gentleman in the black. I was on his stage when Tony said, you need to fly to Puerto Rico, meet this guy Wright, and within 15 minutes, I showed the vision of Impact CEOs. Wright showed me his vision of the Blockbot metaverse of all of these blockchains that had already been built to disrupt humanity. So when you ask yourself, why are you here? Hopefully it's because you want to be a part of a global initiative to change the world. Here is our big purpose: to help humanity reset our operating systems. I'm talking about energy, food, healthcare, banking, mining, transportation, so that every one of us, all 8 billion of us, can win the game of life. If you want to win the game of life, if you want to be happier, healthier, and wealthier, type win game of life into the chat. You're going to hear us talk about our core values at a later date, but we believe in making an impact, connecting humanity, learning, constantly learning, giving, rewarding, and recognizing everything we do. We're looking for ways to give more away, and we believe in transparency. Our vision, really simple. Our first step is to connect 1 billion connectors. We call anybody who's on our social platform connectors. And guess what? We own this. Then we figure about 100 million of those will use our products and services. They'll buy our regenerative farmed food. They'll offset their energy bill using our Power Pay, which makes their electric bill go to zero, and they earn digital rewards. They'll use our incredible communication platform called Rally to be able to connect with their friends and family around the world instead of using a centralized technology called Zoom. So 100 million users of products and services, and 1 million Blockbot owners, people like you, people like me, who say, I want a decentralized future. And then 10,000 impact Blockbots, just like the people I introduced you up here. They've decided to help just 4 people learn about AI, learn about blockchain, become a part of this blockchain railroad we're building around the world. So in final piece here, we are on a mission. We're on a mission to connect and reward purpose-driven people. That's you, by the way. If you're a purpose-driven person, you're in the right spot. We're on a mission to connect and to reward purpose-driven people to what? To impact projects through AI and blockchain technology so that together we can create a better future.